All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a pretty fascinating process: how we take these big, abstract ideas and actually turn them into structured, tangible results. Welcome to the art and science of project management. So, I want you to think about this question right off the bat. Is running a college, like day in and day out, is that a project? Why or why not? It's a great little thought experiment because it forces us to spot the real difference between daily, ongoing operations, just keeping the lights on at a campus, and a unique temporary task. Well, to answer that, we really have to nail down what a project actually is. Put simply, a project is any collection of tasks or goals that give you some sort of benefit once they're done, but, and here's the catch, they are strictly bound by limits. Things like time, money, and labor. It's all about getting a specific task done on time, within your budget, and exactly as per the scope, all while keeping the quality up to par. So, running a college daily? Nah, that's an ongoing operation. But building a brand new science lab on campus? Now that is a project. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover what is a project, the iron triangle constraint, managing project stakeholders, the project lifecycle, change and scope management, and finally, PMI and business alignment. Let's get to it. Section 1. What is a project? The 7 fundamentals of structured results. Think of these 7 fundamentals as your project's guardrails. You absolutely need clear, specific, and measurable objectives, along with a defined scope. Honestly, knowing what's excluded from your project is just as important as knowing what's included. Then we manage our constraints: time, using realistic timelines and milestones; cost, through strict budgets; and quality, to make sure you're actually hitting the required standards. Finally, you protect the whole thing with risk management, figuring out mitigation strategies before things go wrong, and you keep everyone on the exact same page with solid stakeholder communication. Moving on to Section 2, the iron triangle constraint, or as I like to call it, the project manager's reality check. So, the triple constraint, also known as the iron triangle, dictates that scope, time, and cost must be perfectly balanced to maintain quality. Think of it like this: every single project is boxed in by what needs to be delivered, when it must be delivered, and how much it's going to cost. And quality? That sits right in the middle, held securely together by these 3 totally interdependent sides. This table breaks down the mathematical reality of that triangle. Basically, if you pull on one corner, the other 2 are inevitably going to warp. If your scope increases, well, your time and costs are going to increase too. If your time is suddenly slashed, you either have to throw more money at it to rush things, or you have to reduce your scope. And if your budget is cut, you're either cutting scope or accepting that your quality is going to take a major hit. I mean, we've all seen this happen, right? The budget for a group presentation runs dry, and suddenly you're handing out flimsy black and white flyers instead of those glossy posters you planned. Let's ground this theory in a scenario you've probably seen on campus. Imagine you're organizing the annual College Fest. Your initial plan is locked in. You have a budget of 3 lakh rupees, 2 months to plan, and a scope that includes a DJ night, a fashion show, and some food stalls. Perfect, right? But then suddenly, management decides they want to add a celebrity guest to the lineup. Boom. The iron triangle is just blown to pieces. The impact? Your costs instantly shoot up, you need way more time for all the extra coordination, and your overall project risk practically skyrockets. All right, Section 3, managing project stakeholders. Let's talk about navigating the human element. You see, key stakeholders hold a project together like a giant, sturdy arch. You've got the sponsor providing the resources, the project manager overseeing the actual execution, the team members bringing all their critical skills to the table, and the customers who define what the requirements actually are. You even have the government or regulators making sure you're legally compliant. If you manage these groups poorly, well, that's a fast track to severe delays, nasty conflicts, and honestly, total project failure. Next up, Section 4. The project lifecycle. This is the professional blueprint. Even a massive, super intimidating project starts to feel totally manageable when you break it down into 4 logical phases. First up is initiation. That's where the idea is defined, evaluated, and finally approved. Second is planning, where you draw up the detailed plans for your scope, time, cost, and risks. Third is execution, which is exactly what it sounds like. The team actually rolls up their sleeves and implements the work. And finally, closure, where the results are handed over and performance gets a formal review. Now, the absolute most crucial part of that very first initiation phase, it's securing your project charter. This formal document does a lot. It defines the objectives, it names the project manager, outlines the scope, and sets the high-level budget and timeline. The big takeaway here is super simple. Without a charter, you literally have zero formal authority. You have no budget and absolutely no real power to make the project happen. To keep all this chaos on track, the global standard from the Project Management Institute formalizes this lifecycle into 5 specific process groups. We have initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling, and closing. By following these exact steps, you ensure no critical details slip through the cracks, and you drastically improve the overall coordination and accountability of your team. Which brings us to Section 5, Change and Scope Management, transitioning to the future state. Let's be real, change is inevitable, and when it happens, a step-by-step approach is absolutely crucial. Change management is just a structured way to transition individuals or whole teams into a future state. Why do we even need this? Well, mostly because of people. We have a natural resistance to change. We hate uncertainty, and we fear failure. So you have to climb this staircase step by step. First, you create awareness, then you build the desire to change, you provide the knowledge, you enable the ability to actually do it, and finally, you reinforce that change so it actually sticks. And a massive part of managing change is managing your scope, which brings us to this requirement management funnel. By strictly identifying, analyzing, and controlling what is actually needed, you create this funnel that just filters out all the extra noise. It ensures business alignment, and it gives you this really strict scope control to prevent uncontrolled expansion, what we call scope creep. It minimizes errors, which reduces rework, and ultimately it ensures your final product is something that truly satisfies what the customer needs. All right, our final section. Section 6, PMI and Business Alignment, getting a glimpse of the professional horizon. As you start scaling up in your career, you're going to encounter portfolios and programs. Program management is basically managing a group of related projects all together. For example, overseeing all digital marketing initiatives like running social media, SEO, and a massive website revamp, all at the same time. Portfolio management? That is even bigger. It's an entire collection of projects and programs aligned with the organization's overarching strategy. Think about handling all of a company's investments across marketing, expansion, R&D, and tech. It really just shows the incredible massive scale at which professional project managers operate. Now, the definitive professional league for all these skills is the Project Management Institute, or PMI. They were founded way back in 1969. They developed the global standards and offer these internationally recognized certifications. They also published what's known as the PMBOK Guide. But here's a vital thing to keep in mind. PMBOK is not some strict, inflexible rulebook. Actually, it's more like a common language, a framework of best practices so project managers everywhere can improve their consistency and successfully execute their vision. At the end of the day, though, it all comes down to benefit realization. I mean, passing the finish line means absolutely nothing if the project doesn't actually deliver its intended, measurable business value. You have to ensure that return on investment, and you have to link your outcomes directly back to the business strategy. If you don't, well, you risk falling into the pretty devastating trap of a project being 100% completed, but entirely useless. So I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge to end this explainer. I want you to immediately apply this foundational toolkit we just went over. Try creating a mini project plan for either organizing a big college event or, say, launching a new startup product. I want you to map out your objective, your exact scope, your timeline, your key stakeholders, and your potential risks. Ask yourself, which corner of that iron triangle are you going to pull first when things inevitably get a little tight? Take this framework, apply it to your world, and just see exactly how your own abstract ideas can transform into structured, real-world results.